Call the meeting to order. Let's take a roll call, please. That takes care of that. So moving on to announcements, Mike.
The only thing I have this evening is that there is a request for a non-agenda item this evening. This is for one of the sections in Starnes Creek off of Meeks Road. In this particular case, there was a final plat that was approved very recently by this body. My understanding is that the control point that was the basis for the surveying was off just a tiny bit, and so they discovered that everything was shifted just a few feet. Everything else is, the same exact plat. It's just shifted over a tiny bit as a result of that, and so they're requesting a reapproval. So if you're inclined to do that, and we recommend that you do, you would need to vote to add it to the end of the agenda, in which case it would be heard as item 19. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike. And at this point, yep.
Moving to 19.
Sounds good. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's vote, please. Just voice vote. Okay. All right. All those in favor of adding item 19 to the agenda? Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. All right, moving on to consideration of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any discussion items on the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion on the minutes? Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's vote, please. All right.
Who made the motion?
Don.
Patrick. Second. Okay, thank you.
Let's vote, please. Motion passes. Moving on to consideration of the consent agenda, and I call on Ms. Sharon.
Mr. Chairman, I am recusing myself of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items that we need to pull from the consent agenda to discuss separately? Hearing none, do we have a motion? Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Mr. McCord, thank you. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. Moving on to item 14. Under old business, preliminary plat review for the Grace Lynn Neely property, large lot easement subdivision containing 4 lots on 35.61 acres located off Spantown Road in the 5th voting district. Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, the applicant has requested deferral to the March 2023 Planning Commission meeting to allow the applicant more time to address staff comments. Staff concurs with this request.
Sir, do I have a motion on this? Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. So for item number 15, out of abundance of caution, I need to recuse myself from this item, and I'm going to turn it over to Don to handle this item, and I'll be back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting approval of an approximately 20,600 square foot building for the South Point Community Church, as well as the associated parking and the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system that will serve the use. Future phases will include a school and other church facilities. All future phases will require a revised site plan and are not being considered at this time. Property in question is located on Nolensville Road, approximately 1,600 feet northeast of Big Oak Lane. Properties surrounding the parcel in question range in size from approximately 6 acres to 266 acres in size and are used primarily for residential and agricultural purposes. Water to the site is served by Nolensville College Grove Utility District, which has indicated that no bond is required. Wastewater will be handled by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. The Tennessee Public Utility Commission has determined a certificate of convenience and necessity is not necessary, and a draft state operating permit has been issued by the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. A design development report and a detailed soils investigation report were prepared by the applicant and submitted to the county. The county's wastewater consultant has reviewed these reports and has concluded that all zoning ordinance requirements related to the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system have been met. The county's traffic consultant has reviewed the traffic impact analysis submitted by the applicant and has recommended approval from a traffic standpoint contingent upon the applicant making a number of roadway improvements. Various roadway improvements associated with Phase 1 include constructing a southbound and northbound turn lanes at the site access point, providing adequate intersection site distance per AASHTO guidelines, and clearing of any obstructions such as vegetation, landscaping signs, and fencings within the departure site triangle. In addition, an updated traffic impact analysis will be required for all additional phases. A landscaping plan has been reviewed and approved by staff. Site plan is in order and staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Number 1, all recommendations specified in the attached letter from the county's traffic consultant must be in place prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for buildings within the corresponding phase of the project. Number 2, prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for buildings associated with Phase 1, a zoning certificate must be obtained for the completed non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. Prior to issuance of the zoning certificate, the applicant shall provide the following. A letter from TDEC indicating that the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system was installed and is functioning. B, a letter from the owner/utility provider indicating that it has accepted the said system and is currently operating the same. C, as-built drawings showing the location of all system components and a sealed certification letter from the design engineer stating that the system was constructed in accordance with the approved construction plans and specifications. D, per the recommendation of the county's wastewater consultant, establishment of a performance bond for the on-site treatment and disposal system in the amount of $66,000. Number 3, prior to the submission of building permit applications, the posting of a performance bond for landscaping improvements in the amount of $55,000. 4, submittal to and approval by the county engineer for stormwater calculations and the grading and drainage plan prior to issuance of a land disturbance permit. 5, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. 6, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 7, all signage must be approved per ordinance requirements.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Applicant.
Everything that the staff has said is what you're familiar with, or is there anything you'd like to add to it? Okay, thank you. We'll go to the commission then. Any questions on this? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Gordon, second. Motion made. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Vote now. Motion. How do you handle? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Sir, moving on to concept plans, item 16, concept plan review for West Harpeth Ranch containing 37 lots on 113 .36 acres located off West Harpeth Road in the 11th voting district. Staff?
Okay, the applicant is requesting a deferral until your March meeting in order to have more time to address the comments, and we concur with that request.
You have a motion. To have a second? Have a second. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. Moving on to item 17 under preliminary plats. Preliminary plat review for Stone Ridge subdivision, large lot easement containing 5 lots on 63.94 acres located off Harpeth School Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, the applicant is requesting deferral to the March 2023 Planning Commission meeting to allow the applicant more time to address staff comments. Staff concurs with this request.
Thank you. Do I have a motion, please? Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. Moving on to other items at number 18, preliminary sketch plan review revised for Temple Hills, inclusive of section 17 containing 36 lots on 13.34 acres located off Temple Road in the 8th voting district. Staff?
The applicant is requesting deferral to the March 23 meeting in order to allow more time to address staff comments. Staff concurs with this request.
Sir, do we have a motion on this? Have a motion and a second. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. Moving on to the non-agenda item 19, final plat review reapproval for Starnes Creek, Section 1, containing 18 lots on 75.61 acres located off Meeks Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A final plat for this subdivision was approved at the November 2022 meeting and recorded on December 30th, 2022. During the course of preparing the required site plans for building permits, it was noted there was a discrepancy with the survey control points, which resulted in numerous errors with the internal road, rights-of-way, and several lot lines. This revision corrects those discrepancies. The plat is consistent in layout with that depicted on the preliminary plat. All required off-site roadway improvements have been completed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat with the following conditions. The approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. Establishment of a performance bonds for roads, drainage, and erosion control in the amount of $1,200,000. This is a reduced amount based on work completed. Number 3, establishment of a maintenance bond for water improvements in favor of Mill Crofton Utility District in the amount of $140,700. Number 4, per the recommendation of the county's wastewater consultant, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system in the amount of $100,000. Number 5, establishment of a performance bond for landscaping in the amount of $46,000. Number 6, execution of performance agreement for the above referenced sureties. Number 7, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 8, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plane Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Do we have any discussion on item 19? Do I have a motion? Motion and a second. Let's vote, please. Motion passes. We have a motion for adjournment. Thank you.